everybody, it's Leora back again. So I just firstly want to address the situation going on in my head. I'm just going to a party and I'm doing my heatless curls, so just ignore that. But all jokes aside, we're going to be getting into serious mode. I'm going to be addressing the issues of today's conflicts, which I'm sure all of you know is Israel and Palestine. It isn't an easy topic to approach, I know, but that is reality. We all know that what they are doing is not only wrong, but it's horrific because if you've seen the news, if you know what they're doing there, it's pretty scary. And I'm sure none of us would like to live in that situation, but those people do. If you know your history, you'll know that this war has been going on for longer than it has been now. Listen as I read an article from globalconflicttracker.org. The Israeli Palestinian conflict dates back to the end of the 19th century. In 1947, the United Nations adopted Resolution 181, known as the Partition Plan, which sought to divide the British Mandate of Palestine into Arab and Jewish states. On May 14, 1948, the State of Israel was created, sparking the First Arab-Israeli War. The war ended in 1949 with Israel's victory, but 7,500,000 Palestinians were displaced and the territory was divided into three parts: the State of Israel, the West Bank of the Jordan River, and the Gaza Strip. Over the following years, tensions rose in the region, particularly between Israel and Egypt, Jordan, and Syria. Following the 1956 Suez Crisis and Israel's invasion of the Sinai Peninsula, Egypt, Jordan, and Syria signed mutual defense pacts in anticipation of a possible mobilization of Israeli troops. In June 1967, following a series of maneuvers by Egyptian President Abdel Gamal Nasser, Israel preemptively attacked Egyptian and Syrian air forces, starting the Six-Day War. After the war, Israel gained territorial control over the Sinai Peninsula and Gaza Strip from Egypt, the West Bank and East Jerusalem from Jordan, and the Golan Heights from Syria. 6 years later, in what is referred to as the Yom Kippur War or the October War, Egypt and Syria launched a surprise two-front attack on Israel to regain their lost territory. The conflict did not result in significant gains for Egypt, Israel, or Syria, but Egyptian President Anwar al-Sadat declared the war a victory for Egypt, as it allowed Egypt and Syria to negotiate over previously ceded territory. Finally, in 1979, following a series of ceasefires and peace negotiations, representatives from Egypt and Israel signed the Camp David Accords, a peace treaty that ended the 30-year conflict between Egypt and Israel. Even though the Camp David Accords improved relations between Israel and its neighbors, the question of Palestinian self-determination and self-governance remained unresolved. In 1987, hundreds of thousands of Palestinians living in the West Bank and Gaza Strip rose against the Israeli government in what is known as the First Intifada. Sorry, I just don't know what that word is. In the 1993 Oslo I Accords meditated the conflict, setting up a framework for the Palestinians to govern themselves in the West Bank and Gaza, and expanded on the first agreement, adding provisions that mandated the complete withdrawal of Israel from 6 cities and 450 towns in the West Bank. In 2000, sparked in part by Palestinian grievances over Israel's control over the West Bank, a stagnating peace process, and former Israeli Prime Minister Ariel Sharon's visit to the Al-Aqsa Mosque, the third holiest site in Islam. In September 2000, Palestinians launched the Second Intifada, which would last until 2005. In response, the Israeli government approved the construction of a barrier wall around the West Bank in 2002. Despite opposition from the International Court of Justice and the International Criminal Court. Yeah, that's kinda a lot to take in. With the wars in Ukraine going on and now this, I'm kinda scared if it turns into World War, which, if it does, is going to be bad for all of us. But we just need to keep praying and hoping one day God will stop all of this nonsense. Thank you for listening and take care.